Okay, who do we got? Scott, are you coming on video or not? You probably went for a coffee.
No, actually, I'm driving.
Okay, good enough. You're listening in. That's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
let's just have a conversation about step one. And I want to share, first of all, fabulous. Dr. Vance, you did a great job. Kyle and Breton, as usual, great job. So thank you so much. I believe in you, Kyle. That's three times.
Me
Okay.
too, Kyle. Me too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Vance,
we
you say
believe in
me
you.
too.
Make it
Jose, me
happen.
too.
Yeah.
Me,
Scott, me too.
you're welcome.
Okay. Any comments on step one? Because I was thinking about this, and then I thought, do something on AI, and I got an interesting perspective on AI, which is belief is built through action, and it ties very closely to you can't think your way to acting properly or acting differently. You got to act your way to a new way of thinking. To me, it's kind of interesting. I'm thinking about good. Let's choose a meaningful goal, but at the same time, let's get the students to take a small step. So every step they take builds up their confidence.
Hmm.
As we build up their confidence, they can dream bigger. Now, I don't care where they start
Hmm.
ultimately, but wouldn't it be great if somebody could say, "Look, I want to be the president of the United States" or something. Okay, as an example, Vance. Not knocking any any issues. I'm saying Canada should not say anything. Don't piss off the president today. Okay. Uh, okay. Let's start the conversation around step one, meaningful goal. Q&A. Go ahead, guys. I'm gonna listen in and I'll interject where I need to.
Perhaps I can start, George. I think on this somewhat. So quite often I have younger people come to me who don't have a goal, and they struggle with that first step. And sometimes I say to them, some young people are really focused. They're going to be an airline pilot or a doctor or whatever, or a teacher, and they're quite fixed on that. And other young people I come across, they don't seem to have that. They don't. And I say to them, well, sometimes it's more about position yourself in so when that opportunity, when that opens up that future, and that's so it's more about sometimes knowing where you don't want to be. Sometimes, I mean, if you're in the mangroves getting eaten by mozzies, you don't want to be there. You want to get back across the river, and if you go too far, you bang your head against the side of the cliff. I know I don't want to be there, but they're back in the flow. Wow, actually, I think I'm in the right place. I'm not sure where this river's taking me, but I know I'm in the main stream of the river. I can see it turn up ahead, and I just know I'm in the right place to take advantage. So sometimes for me, the goal is position yourself and doing the hard things. If you're going to be in the business world and you don't necessarily have a degree education, well, maybe that's a good thing to do, because that will position you. That will put you in closer to the main stream of the river. And so I have that conversation quite often. And so perhaps the goal isn't quite as sharp for some, but the goal is there for them is to position themselves so that when that opportunity arrives, they're
Mm,
well equipped to grab that with both hands.
wow. I want to say something on that. Um, if somebody's got a positioning goal, state that. This is my positioning goal,
Mm.
right? Important. Um, very good, very good. It's a positioning goal means you're getting ready. It's almost like you're going to university. I don't know where I'm going yet, but I need
Mm.
straight A's.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And
very
I'm
good,
studying.
good comment.
Yeah, I'm
And
really passionate about. Sorry,
mangroves and mozzies,
you have them in Canada, don't
mosquitoes,
you?
right? Are we talking mosquitoes?
Yeah. Mosquitoes. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, see, you shortened it as if they're small. Our mosquitoes are huge. No, I'm just kidding. But there's a lot. We have a lot of mosquitoes. I always said if you fall in a ditch somewhere in the summer here, you get eaten by the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
So the environment to me is another thing that you bring up, and I think that's excellent. One of the things I wanted to do is walk 10,000 steps a day. It's 45 below tonight. Okay, Vance, if you're, in Fahrenheit, that's about 50 below. Okay.
Yeah, cold, man.
It's 45 below tonight where I am. Good luck trying to get me in my snowshoes walking. So that's why I used to go for the winter 5 months to
Mm.
Florida and then, Galveston, Texas. you change your environment, and all of a sudden you can do what you never could do before. So think about the environment as critical.
Mm.
Way to go. Thank you, Brenton.
I would say, what are your thoughts about? So I know one of the concepts I was introduced to was the fact that people have a tendency to create these goals around things that they know that they can do or things that they think they can do versus on
Mm.
focusing on that big goal that's like this fantasy, this imagination. Why do you think that that is? Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, sorry, guys. Anybody else have thoughts? I got some really good thoughts on it. Go ahead.
I'll say what was in my head, and you
Yeah.
can counter or agree or whatever. That's fine. Um, I don't think there's any problem with someone's first goal being either the like I want to go for a walk next week or I'm going to rid the world of starvation. Doesn't matter what the goal is, as long as they have a goal. As you go through the Harada method, your perspective on the world will continually change. And then your goals will evolve with that perspective that you have that's kind of reborn every year, every quarter, every decade, or whatever the timeline is, right? But if you just have the ability to set a goal that you feel like you're going to work towards, you can now feel like you've got the system to help you achieve or get close to that goal or increases the chances of achieving that goal. But something you might have an aha moment where we realize I'm meant to do this. This is why I was born. I'm going to do this.
Mhm.
Okay to change the goal and change everything, right? But now you have a system or a tool that you feel, and then you have the confidence of, I could actually achieve this because I know how to use this tool, for example.
I think that's a really important point, Kyle. And often for students, early or new students, I say that to them in the very early days. Sometimes it's as much about the process as it is about the goal. Particularly if I'm working for the first time, and I say we'll go for the first month or so, and then we'll start getting really serious after the first, because then you'll see how it all fits together. So I think you're absolutely spot on, and the value of the working together with the student is as much about the framework, the system, the Harada method, as it is that first goal, because you're right, all of a sudden they've got that in their bag for the rest of their life.
And there's varying perspectives in the world that I agree with both sides of it. Like if you're a large entity, you're trying to get a lot of buy-in from a certain create a movement, right? Having a seemingly impossible goal might be really good because it can be something that's like really like I don't care how much money I get paid, I just want to be a part of this, right? But there's also the chance of saying, well, it's unrealistic to try to do something that's not within your circle of influence. So your goal should be something that you can actually have an influence on. And maybe your mission or your vision is tied to that seemingly impossible goal. And you start weaving things together that help you tell your story in various ways, possibly.
And sometimes I'd work when I'm working with the younger people in particular in that case, and going back to that conversation about going to university or studying or whatever. Sometimes it's about just getting broadly. So, do you see yourself in a not-for-profit type environment, or do you see yourself in a business environment? Oh, I definitely want to be in business. I definitely want to have my own. Okay, well, maybe a course in that general. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going, but I know it's over that way rather than over that way. So let's start forming up the goal that takes you down that general path. And as you get closer to more, and as you say, the more you go forward, the more you learn, and the goal starts sharpening up as you get closer to where I'm not sure where I'm going to. I'm not sure where I'm going, but when I get there, I'll know I'm there. Kind of thinking, and that starts sharpening up as they progress through life towards that more specific goal.
Jose, any comments?
Yeah, I was thinking, and I have a question for Dr. Vance. Nice to meet you, Doctor. Talking about goals and talking because you deal with these young kids or people who's they are starting to discover the world. How do we encourage these new generations to pick a goal? I mean, they don't even know what their skills are, right? So even young professionals, we need to start developing their skills. They need to know what their strengths, and their weakness before they pick a goal, or probably they just pick up the random goal, just like Kyle said. I can, I want to solve the world's uh, and name it, right? Starvation, and then you start seeing that, okay, this is not my thing. Okay, at
Yeah.
least you learn something, right? But how do we push the people? How do you push the young generations and the young professionals, to do this analysis about themselves? I have these skills, but I would like to have this more, or this is so I can pick a goal, or is this the egg or the chicken, right? Do I need to develop my skills first, or I just pick a random goal and start going through my, walking my path towards that, and then I find out that this is not for me. I need to change it, and then 5 more minutes, oh, this is not for me either, and I will change it. So that this is a great discussion, because I mean, for young generations, young professionals, how do we motivate them? How do we encourage them? How do we give them some advice that they can really use and take home and say, hey, I really, really thinking about that, and it really makes sense for me.
No, what you said is, I think that the answer is in something that you said, and I think that one of the big things that people don't do, I think that people need to take self inventories of themselves and their preferences and their strengths. And if you have enough conversations with people, you ask the right questions, you'll recognize that most people, and when I honestly feel like it's most people. I can argue they've never taken any type of self inventory on their strengths, their limitations, their communication styles, um, their skills, the things like are you better working with people? Are you more of a person who's like more of an introverted person who's more focused on processes? Most people do not take that inventory. And I think that the sooner you're able to encourage students to take those that self inventory of their strengths and their limitations, I think that that's really the key. Because a lot of times you find that people are making goals for themselves based on what they see somebody else accomplish or somebody else's strengths or somebody else's talents, and they see that this person has these all this success, but just because you see a person successful in one way does not necessarily mean that you're going to have the same success if you go through the same exact process as they are, because we're all uniquely designed. We all have different preferences, things we like, don't like, different skills, different talents that we're naturally born with. And so I think that the earlier we can get these students or these young adults, young professionals to really take that self inventory of what their actual gifts are, what their talents are, what their limitations are, what their strengths are. I think that that's really the key to being able to develop meaningful goals that are based on what your vision is. So I think that that's really the key. Taking that self inventory, that self assessment process, that's really the key to making that happen.
Mm. And
Yeah, good answer.
picking up on that thought, Vance, or Doctor, I sometimes say to these younger people, and down that same line of thinking, is push out in lots of different directions. So think of yourself as like in a big rubber balloon. Just push out as far as you can on that, and go as far as you can. Put a stake there, and then push out in another area, and put a stake there, and then push out another area, and all of a sudden you find yourself, you keep pushing, and you're loving it, and you keep pushing, and you love it, and all of a sudden you're way out in this area, and you start finding your way because you're not only good at it, but you love doing it, and that stake just keeps getting pushed against that rubber sort of balloon, and then you start finding those areas where you're really good at, you love doing, and the goals start forming there. So you might trying to learn a language, but you get to the first lesson, this is just not me, and so you put that stake there, hold that. I'll come back to you later. And maybe I'll do something over here in some other area and push out that to balloon out that way. But typically, once they find that place, they push and they keep pushing, they keep going and going and going. quite often that seems to lead them down the path of where their goals and their true purpose lies.
No, you bring up a good point because you have to try, especially when you're younger, you have the opportunity to try out different things. So because if you don't try a thing, you're not going to really be able to figure out what your preferences are, the things
Yep.
you like and what you don't like. So, no, that's a good point that you made. Very important to, and when as we get older, we're not really afforded the opportunity to try as many things because at least in a certain and from a certain perspective, at least I'll say that, because you have families, have kids, bills, things like that, so you have to be a little bit more precise as we get older and we have different responsibilities. But when you're younger and you don't really have a lot of things that you're responsible for, those are the opportunities when those are the chances that we have to be able to try different things so we can really just figure out exactly what we like versus what we don't like.
This is
Wonderful.
a really interesting topic for me because my son is in his first year of college. He's a freshman. He's completed one semester, and I don't know what I want to major in. Well, what are you passionate about? I don't know. I don't think I'm passionate about anything. Well, what subjects do you like? I don't really like going to school at all. It's trying to get him to get at least directionally correct is a struggle. The idea of the self-assessment is probably a good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. If we find a good self-assessment, we'll add it to the app. Now, just to wrap up, here's my thoughts. One behavior that all teachers should avoid is correction. It's a very bad behavior. Even saying the word no, bad behavior. Let people grow. Having many goals, super important. Expand before you contract. Absolutely. So get people to get many goals. I have written down here, I will try. Those are the 3 words every teacher should teach their students. I will try. And finally, the language is important. So I will, good language. I am, stronger language. I know, even stronger language. So in many ways, using the right language is important. And finally, the what's next exercise should get that student to think about, I'm there now, I've achieved my goal. What's next? That expands their world. And with the Harada method, we'll learn later that it's about looking at the future, working backwards, not the other way around. And we all think from where we are looking forwards. So that's one of the, I guess, master skills that a coach learns is look at the future and work backwards to figure out where you need to get to. Okay, I leave it with that. And thank you so much. What a great conversation. I'm going to put it into a YouTube video, and then I'll put the link in the app. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Best.
Thank
Bye.
you.